Okay, we're back again. Alright, we're gonna start where we left off. Let's load this up from the other day. Alright, I think he was in that restaurant, and then the police officers there was a couple police officers waiting for him. Or, he thinks they're waiting, they're there for him, looking for him, but we'll find out if that is the case. Alright. While that happened, I grew further and further away from the front line of the world and would eventually be swallowed up by the masses. I fixed my darting eyes on my hands and thought desperately. How should I escape from here? If I grabbed my PC and ran, the plug would get in the way. Do I unplug the adapter from my PC? Take off running with just the unit? My identity would be given away by the adapter, but it was still better than being captured. Or should I stay still right here and wait for them to leave? I'd like to do that if it's possible, but the officer staring at me seemed like he was about to stand up and shout, "Hey you!" to me at any moment. My cold sweat dripped onto my keyboard. Wait, that woman wouldn't have ratted me out, would she? As I thought of this possibility, I was tortured by a desperate rage, but suddenly a shadow appeared on the table. It was that woman. More water? She poured me a refill. I cursed her in my heart, wishing that she wouldn't draw their attention towards me at any time like this. And my lowered face was totally flushed. But a piece of paper with words written on it was attached to the side of the cup she clucked down on the table. Get ready. I nearly raised my head, but the woman quickly left my table before I could make that mistake. I set my computer to mute and shut it down so that they didn't notice that my OS was no longer running. I'll give up on the adapter. I quietly poured the cord out of the main unit and confirmed the location of my bag. I already used the money I always kept in my jacket pocket at the cafe, so I'll use what I had in my back pocket. There was a line in an old English mafia movie that I saw at home that said that a $10 bill kept in your clothes was a business card to God. It certainly kept you well prepared. I quietly placed a 10-mool bill by my hand, perked up my ears, and waited for the right timing. The policeman had been staring at me non-stop. He was definitely suspicious of me. Well, dude, if you stare back at him, I think he's probably suspicious as well. I mean, he's kind of giving off that suspicious vibe. With a clang, the policeman started to get up. Tension up! At that very moment, the tension don was placed on the counter loudly. What's wrong? The cop called out to his partner, who was now halfway out of his seat. Is it the guy behind me? Right after he said this, the woman's voice rang energetically throughout the room. Thanks for waiting. Here's your tension don. Oh, yeah. The one with his back to me turned his attention back to the food. The other one was looking at me, but because the woman was standing next to his corner seat, he was stuck in his seat and couldn't get out. Now was the moment. It was my only chance. The payment's on the table. I said this as quickly as possible and left the 10-mool bill on the table. Hey you, wait! The officer clearly told me to stop, but I just gave him a sideways glance as I walked quickly towards the exit. It was only a distance of 3 steps, but it felt like forever. The yelling officer attempted to chase after me, but with the woman in his way, he couldn't get out. Gah! The shrill scream came from the woman, who lost her balance after being pushed by the officer. She turned to the other officer, still sitting in his chair, and the piping hot tension don looked like it was about to spill. Acting out of natural self-defense, the officer caught the bowl in his hands. By that time, I had successfully exited the store. I took off running as if nothing else in the world mattered. Where am I? I spoke to myself out loud to make sure that I wasn't in a dream. My throat was dry, though, so it was hard to speak. I cleared my throat a few times and took a deep breath. I hadn't the foggiest how I got here. After I left that store, I ran for my life toward the narrowest street I could find. I thought the police would be right behind me if I looked back, so I did nothing but run forward, not looking back a single time. After that, I must have found a handy-looking tunnel to hide in, and then fallen asleep inside it. The pain throughout my body must have been from sleeping in the same position the entire time. Is this a sewer? In general, any place made out of the moon's unique limestone was a public facility. This place also had a cool, rough limestone floor, as well as matching walls. Between that and the sound of running water, this place had to be a sewer. Right then, I noticed a slight glow around me. Is that from the exit? It seemed like I was nearly passed out, and while I had no idea how long I'd been asleep, it must be night by now. The fact that the lamps were lit made me certain of it. Slowly and carefully I began to walk. Suddenly, the road turned into a dead end. I could see the light source on the other side of the wall that I now faced, which was even taller than me. An exclamation mark here. I guess something's happening. I let out a quick gasp because it looked as though something on the ceiling had moved. But the only thing there was strangely wavering lights and shadows. Like a small bug attached to the light, I took my bag off and climbed the wall. Then, when I saw what was on the other side of the wall, I let out a much bigger gasp. What could it be? Holy! Before me was a huge, spacious atrium. I was near the top part of the atrium, and I could see more passages on its opposite and right sides. However, the most amazing part of the waterway passing through the base of the atrium, clear water flowed through it like gentle rapids, and most of the sound of water must have originated there. The bottom of the reservoir glowed a bluish color. Apparently he's found something that has astonished him. Occasionally a fish would move, and its shadow on the ceiling would swim as well. Apparently there is fish in this sewer. I don't know. I've never been in a sewer, so I don't know if fish are usually in a sewer. As I gazed at the scene, amazed that places like this existed on the moon, I suddenly heard a rustling sound behind me. What could it be? What could it be? As I turned back in surprise, I forgot that I was balancing on top of a wall. I immediately lost my balance and fell on my butt. Ow! All of a sudden, I saw a pitch-black figure in front of me, rifling through my bag. Ooh! Something is digging in his bag! Someone mugging you? Hey! Whoa! What are you doing? Not only had my life's wages and labor gone into that PC, but it also carried the 1 billion mool dream that I knew I was going to make a reality. My body moved before I even had time to think, and I tackled the figure. I threw myself at the shadow, covering its face with my left hand and aiming for its throat with my right. It was a technique that an immigrant from Earth taught me when I was growing up in a village full of muscleheads. It was an incredibly effective technique, and had to be. It was used by someone who came from a place where a failed government was replaced by military forces who had seized the UN food supplies to be used as aid and would toss it around as if they were feeding animals. Because I was looking at the light coming from the waterway, my eyes still weren't used to the darkness. The passage was narrow, though, so I couldn't miss. Not only that, but my opponent was way weaker than I had thought, tumbling over as soon as I connected. So his opponent is definitely must be humanoid, or human. So it seems like it's not like some animal was ruffling through his stuff. It seems like definitely a person. Right at that moment, I saw a small, plank-like object fall onto the floor. The glowing object looked like it could be some sort of computer terminal. However, I was too busy thinking about punishing this idiot who was searching through my bag. On top of the bastard's body, he was either not resistant or too surprised to. I kept my grip on their throat and balled my other hand into the tightest fist I could make. Die! Why does he want this person to die? I think that's going a little overboard, saying die. I froze, my fist still overhead. Oh, a girl. No wonder he stopped his fist. It was a girl. I wonder if she'll explain why she was trying to steal his shit. I raised my fist and was about to drop my iron hammer of fury. Ow! I began to speak. A woman? Right then, my vision went dark. Oh shit, did he get hit? I only realized that I had been punched in the nose after I was woken up by being shoved on the chest into the side wall of the passage. Oh no. Apparently she hit him. He hesitated and got punched. Hitting me out of nowhere? What's wrong with you? The pitch black shadow, or rather the pitch black woman, began to speak. Black hair, black eyes, black hose, black skirt, black shoes. Her ankles peeking out from the hem of her skirt were black too. Even her stockings were black. Quite descriptive. Apparently she is wearing all black, but this picture here says otherwise. So this is one of the things that I've noticed in some visual novels, is that sometimes when they're describing things and other things like that, it doesn't always fit with the artwork that's being shown on the screen. Dressed in black from top to bottom, her white face seemed to float in the darkness. She stared at me with her thin black eyes as if she was staring at a bug. My head was seething, both from the shock of being punched and my anger at the outrageous situation. What the hell? You're the one who was going through my bag. What's wrong with you? That's not true. What would you do if this broke? The girl looked around. Then, while still sitting, she reached out her arms and grabbed the plank-like device that fell earlier. She brushed away the dirt and began to use it, probably to see if it still worked. But anyway, what kind of mentality would lead someone to verbally attack me after hitting me? This is why I hated women. That's a little mean, I think, having a hatred for women right there. I doubt he has that much experience with women. His hatred seems just to be stemmed from that lack of experience. I don't think all of them are bad. Maybe you listen to her a little bit there. You do seem like you're an asshole in general. He doesn't really seem like the best person, what I've seen so far. I'm just doing this because I was asked to. Why do I have to be subjugated to this? Okay, where's this going? She was asked to do this. She seemed to mutter this to herself. Disheed from the fall, she gathered her long black hair into a bundle of darkness in one hand and straightened it neatly in an instant. It looked like a cable harness. Found him! Hurry up and get here! I'm in the side passage on the top level. Oh shit, apparently someone's searching for him and then she is looking as well. What the hell is this? Still seated, the girl began to talk. That thing might also work as a communication device. Who in the world is she? She was searching for me? Or was she interested in what I was carrying? If that were the case, then I wouldn't hold back. Thankfully, I was in a dark, deserted, and hard-to-see place. I must have lost a fight just now, but if I went at her with all my strength, I knew I could win. Maybe I should take some naked pictures of her and post them on the internet, online. Okay, I think that would be just about very close to rape. You definitely would be sexually harassing her or molesting her, pretty much. I think you don't seem to be the nicest guy with the best intent here. Our main character does seem to have some issues, most definitely. He's definitely not the best guy out there. Once I was done. With that in mind, her arrogant attitude and expression might come in handy. Right as I went to move my back off the wall, I heard a voice. I hear you. Wait 1 minute. The floor is getting complicated around there. As soon as I heard the voice, I felt that the dark urge in my chest disappear. I had heard that voice before. It was the voice of the woman from the Chinese restaurant who allowed me to escape. Interesting. Hurry up, Lisa. The girl spoke curtly into the terminal. I feel like I'm losing brain cells just being around this guy. I can understand that. He does seem to be not the best guy to be around. He has issues. He definitely does have some issues. I was dumbfounded for a moment, and then glared at the girl. Huh? The girl glanced at me, then quickly turned away. She acted as if she had heard a stray dog barking outside her window. She was clearly acting in the intolerable way that only women can, making it seem as though no insult or abuse hurled her way would possibly affect her. Well, I was the type to get really angry when something I say is ignored. I was not even enough of an adult to suppress my irritation. I kept glaring at her, not caring how lame I might be looking. Still glaring at her, I pulled my bags toward me and made sure that nothing had been taken out. Nothing seemed wrong. Only, there seemed to be something like a piece of dried macaroni at the bottom of my bag. It was practically metallic. A small, green, rice-sized light was flickering on and off. Around the time that I figured out that it was a homing device much like one used on a pet dog, I heard footsteps from the other side of the passage. Why did I'm assuming that the tracking devices, the way they were able to find him was the lady from the restaurant dropped a tracking device in his bag. But the big question, why? That is a pretty good question. Why? The woman who appeared shortly after was unmistakably the one from the Chinese restaurant. While she was irritating, she also saved me. So this was Lisa. Phew, finally found you. I told you reception is bad around here, the girl in black replied. But I found you. It took a little while, though. The woman wiped her forehead, which made her finally realize that her hair was in a mess. I'm amazed that you got all the way to a place like this. Were you here the whole time? Well, the woman talked. She took the flat device from the sitting girl. After inputting a few commands, the macaroni-shaped light in my hand stopped blinking and turned yellow. Is this a tracking device? Not answering the woman's question, I asked one back. Yep, I put it in there when you were bending over to plug your adapter in. You were busy being charmed by my legs. Alright. I wasn't charmed by anything. I shot. This only caused the seated black-clad girl to shoot me a disdainful look over her shoulder. Well, I apologize for putting a homing device in your bag without asking. No matter what the reason, it isn't a nice thing to have happen to you. Her easily offended apology left me no room to complain. Only there was no way that someone who put a tracking device into someone else's bags could be an upstanding person. Considering this, I started to feel like her saving me at the restaurant might have been due to some ulterior motive. Yeah, she might have something. I mean, if she's putting in a tracking device on you, she must have something for some reason. I doubt just to be good. I mean, she would have just let you go. There's something. In any case, I was in the back corner of a deserted sewer. What I had just thought of doing in my rage to the annoying girl in black might not now be done to me. You really think these girls are going to strip you naked and take pictures and put it on the internet? I doubt these girls just want to see you naked and, you know, take pictures of you and post them online. I really... Unless he's thinking of, like, him and he's gonna get beat up. Why would they track you just to beat you up and take pictures of you naked? That seems a little stupid of just a thought to go through his head there. You see, geniuses and the rich were gathered in the lunar cities, and most of them could be called extremely talented. However, they often said that the line between brilliance and madness was paper thin. There was no shortage of stories along the lines of mad scientists performing unspeakable experiments on a nightly basis, or the wealthy perverts committing sickening acts one after another. I looked up at the woman, the shaking reflection from the water dimly reflected upon her face, and grabbed my bag without one hand. I was careful enough to spread my money across different pockets, so of course I carried at least a small weapon. But regardless of gender, the woman over there was taller than me. Gravity was weak on the moon, so if you thought about it as a simple action-reaction, there wasn't much difference here between a man and a woman's punches and kicks. In that case, it came down to either wrestling or stiffening your body in one place and slamming into your opponent while covering as much physical energy as possible. That was where the length of your limbs made a difference. Not only that, there was someone right next to me who most certainly wasn't on my side. I recalled the atrium I had just looked into. With my leg strength, couldn't I jump over the wall all the way over to the other side? Or if I made sure to land in the water, wouldn't I be okay? While my mind was whirling through the possibilities, I gulped and said the following. Why are you doing this? Was your saving me a trap? I wasn't sure if I should say that much, but before I could make a decision, the woman spoke first. The woman smiled as she was stumped and bent her head to the side. She then continued, For fun? My back stiffened with a shudder, and the feeling that I was going to be killed. I don't know, man, this guy really seems scared of these girls, but I'm not really get that scary of a vibe from him. I mean, yeah, I would be kind of odd for them to, you know, put a tracking device on you and track you, but I don't think I'd be scared. I'd just be confused, more or less, in my opinion. You've got to be kidding me. I still have dreams, and I've just barely gotten to the starting line. I stood up and suddenly put all my strength into my thigh muscles. She spoke right as my body began to fly. But I mean, you wouldn't want to get falsely arrested, right? Unable to drain all the strength in my thighs, my body floated as I hopped lightly backwards. With a slow, gentle trajectory, my back tapped against the wall. Wait, wrongly arrested? That's right. Those two officers were chasing after a boy, age 15 to 17, height around 160 centimeters, slender, black hair, black eyes, Asian features, wearing a black backpack. But isn't that him? The girl in the black replied to this description. That's what I thought too, but after talking to them some more, I realized that it was someone else. I was slightly confused. When did I get asked that? That woman had known for a long time that I was a runaway. I've been going in and out of that restaurant for a while, and I had met her a number of times. Running away from home as a minor was technically against the law. Well, it was not something you'd be punished for. It was assumed that public order would be deteriorated by jobless, penniless minors wandering the streets. And so they cracked down on it. That's why the woman's words didn't make sense to me. Confused, and my back still against the wall, I heard the woman let out a small sigh and continue to talk. Those two officers weren't looking for just some runaway kid. They were after a thief. Thief? That's right. But well, considering his MO and the circumstances, I could see how someone like you could be suspect. Hearing this, I was reminded how persistent the woman was when it came to the most random things. And that's why you wouldn't stop asking me whether or not I had lunch? Exactly. The other day, someone sniffed a nearby restaurant on the bill. According to eyewitnesses, the suspect looked just like you, as usual. But well, I didn't think that someone would order IU jelly with a carefree, satisfied expression on his face right after gobbling up a crab fried rice would do something like that, you know? The woman giggled as she said this. Slightly miffed, I glared back at her. I wouldn't do something dirty like that over something like 10 mules. Of course not. I checked with Srelot, too. Oh, and I made sure to hold on to your change and your adapter. She seems like a nice woman. She does seem nice. I mean, I can see where he was thinking before of her kind of being annoying and things like that, but she does seem like a nice woman. That made me feel a little relieved. The adapter was especially important. If you were smart enough, you could do just about anything with electric appliance, so most purchases required showing personal identification. If my adapter were to get returned, the police, as a lost article, they'd figure out my identity in a snap. Damn, man, just a power adapter? Your identity has to be applied to just a power adapter? Damn, man. Oh, I wonder what these high-tech, futuristic, moon adapters for your computer have in them. They must be pretty high-tech to be able to do things with them that they have to have, you know, registered, like a freaking gun or something. I heard that on Earth, even a child could anonymously buy parts that could easily be made into a cutting-edge missile. Now that was a scary place. Okay. A cutting-edge missile. These must be some smart children with some money and shit. I mean, I doubt the parts for that would be cheap. So, well, that's what's going on. You should come back to my place. I honestly could not understand what she was saying. What? Are you thinking of going back to the cafe? I asked Sarah. Well, sorry about that. Skip that. I was not a result of that was hard to predict. Only if that's the case, then I'd be back to sleep on the hard ground or some deserted area. To be honest, doing that took a big toll on my body. Not being able to get a calm night's sleep was the worst part about this police patrol. As far as getting sleep, the Big Bowl Cafe had a roof and running water, and if you said that you wanted to pay the premium fee, you'd get the sense of security that came with knowing that you'd be alerted if something dangerous started to go down. The question was whether or not that's a reason to just jump on an invitation from some suspicious woman who was putting tracking devices in people's bags for fun. Even in stock trading, a too-good-to-be-true balance sheet was something used to prime the pump right before a huge crash. I understand why you might be suspicious, but I just told you, right? It's like a hobby for me. putting tracking devices in people's bags? It's like a hobby? The woman told me this as I remained doubtful. Bringing runaways like me into your home was your hobby? Okay. She's either a pervert with some bizarre hobbies, or could it be my charm? It does seem like, you know, if you're taking in, maybe her hobby is helping people, but taking in lost boys does definitely seem like some sort of perverted woman. It's like the whole idea, I got candy, kids, get in the van. I don't think she has that. I mean, I don't know how old she is compared to you, but I don't think she's some pervert who wants to do something to you. I think I basically know what you're thinking, but the woman then laughed in amazement. Unfortunately for you, boys younger than me aren't my thing. Okay. So he was thinking that she was right there, that she was going to take him and do sexual things to him. Unless they're holding giant blood-soaked scissors? I'm not sure if I get that. I'm assuming that's probably supposed to be meaning something, but I'm not sure I understand what that's talking about there. What? Well, then what? What are you after? Is it money? As soon as I said these words, the smile disappeared from the woman's eyes. Did she get mad just from that? Well, I had the feelings that I had already said a lot of other things that should have made her angry. I was still surprised at the sudden change. Watching my face, the woman must have realized the change in her own expression. Oh, well, I'm sorry. She spoke in a forced tone, then rubbed the area around her eyes gently with both hands. This completely disarmed and confused me. Not only that, I was faced with the grim reality of not having any place to go. The woman in front of me allowed me to escape from the restaurant, so in that sense, I owed her a lot. I then concluded that aside from the part about being a runaway, I did consider myself a decent human being, so I should probably reply with something like this. Well, you're saying you consider yourself a decent human being, but you do have some... You did want to, you know, punch the black-haired girl and strip her naked and take pictures of her. I don't know if I would consider that decent human being. He seems to think himself a little bit better than he is. If I do end up being a burden on you, I won't be able to pay much, you know. Well, I had realized that she wasn't especially interested in my money. I still had enough decency to feel bad about not paying someone who took care of me. That's why I said what I said. But would she understand? As I kept staring at the woman, she finally grinned and nodded. Of course. I'll take a little for food and other costs, but it should still be a lot better than wandering around outside. Oh, and, the woman continued, after all, I took care of Sir a lot too. Huh? Nothing you should worry about. So what will you do? There's nothing else I could do. There was only one way I could answer. Thanks. You should be more honest and just say that from the beginning. The woman continued to smile as she said that, but I told her in my head to be more reasonable. Okay, then let's go back. If it gets much later, I won't have a good excuse to give to the police. Hearing the word police, I nodded, once again recognizing the precarious situation I was in. However, while both the woman and I tried to set off, there was someone who wouldn't budge an inch. It was a girl dressed in black. Well, I wasn't sure if she was listening to my conversation with the woman or not. She had an absent-minded look on her face. What are you doing? The woman asked. It was a very prescient question. The girl, still not answering, turned her head and stared my way. Her utterly conceited expression immediately reminded me of the irritating argument I had had with her. What? I said this to her with a voice full of anger. I knew that my remark would be ignored or snubbed, but she was being so upsetting that it just came out that way. As I expected, the girl had turned away snootily and all the annoying elegance of some sort of princess. Hagana, you're not trying to throw a tantrum like some child, are you? The woman used the name Hagana to refer to the girl. Still, snootily turned away, the girl called Hagana gave no reply. With this, I was roughly able to guess what was going on. The woman inviting me to her house most likely meant that I would be living under the same roof as this obnoxious girl named Hagana. Naturally, I was upset that I've been openly rejected by her, but taking a step back, I suppose I could understand how Hagana felt. This put me at a bit of a loss. Should I get angry, or should I respond like an adult? I don't see a reason to get angry, man. Just be an adult. Just be an adult. It's a stupid reason to get angry. Well, I think I'm gonna stop it right here. We're gonna see what happens next in the next episode. I'm gonna call it a night. So we're gonna save this, and we're going to call it that. Well, thanks for watching, listening, and everything. And feel free to leave comments, rate, subscribe if you want. I do have some other videos coming up, and we'll see you again next time.